Welcome everyone to our last keynote of the day. We still have a couple hours of sessions going after this, but this is our last official keynote until 6 in the morning Central Time in the US tomorrow morning, when we'll kick off with 4 more keynotes to inspire you with global learning. I'd like to introduce to you tonight someone who has been a long supporter of GLOW and the Global Education Conference before that. She is amazing and has amazing resources for you. And if you don't know about My Hero, you're going to know about it after tonight. So thank you, Jeannie, for coming. And I'm going to read my little spiel for you and hopefully get everything going. If you're in the chat, if you're here, please let us know where you're from and what your role is, and it will help us kind of get to know who's in the audience. And we really would like to have people be active participants and ask questions and things like that. So don't be shy. So I'm going to go ahead with my little spiel here, and then we'll get going. All right. What would happen if every single day your students saw stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things for others? What if they understood that heroism is not just in the movies, it is in the neighbor, the teacher, the stranger who shows up with compassion? Jeannie Myers has been exploring that question for over 25 years through the My Hero Project, a global media platform that has become a beacon of hope in how we talk about humanity. She's a filmmaker, educator, and activist who believes that storytelling and the act of recognizing heroes is transformative education. Jeannie's work connects directly to what GLOW stands for, helping students and educators navigate and exchange civically, but also reminding us that education is ultimately about cultivating empathy, connection, and hope. In a world saturated with negativity and division, the My Hero Project teaches educators and students to actively seek, celebrate, and become the best of humanity. Her keynote comes at a perfect moment. As educators, we're all looking for ways to inspire students to believe that change is possible. Jeannie reminds us that it starts with visibility, seeing, and celebrating goodness. Please welcome Jeannie Myers to the keynote stage. Thank you, Jeannie, for coming. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Lucy. It's a real honor to be here, and I am grateful. I think, I don't know how I get on the stage, but I've been working on a deck to share as many of our resources as possible with the people that are attending and seeking resources for global education. My Hero is thankful to all of the sponsors for the Global Education Conference, and this is being recorded, so everybody knows that. So I am the director of the My Hero Project. I'm also the co-founder, and I started this project with Rita Stern-Milch and Karen Pritzker online in 1995 as an experiment. We really wanted to see if we could build something. Would people participate? Would they share stories of hope and inspiration? And they did. And it was really exciting to understand very early on in the internet what might be possible. So the slide asks us to share where you're from. If you're in here, if you can take a moment and share where you're viewing this presentation from. And this is an overview of what we'll be talking about. My Hero is a library of hope, shining a light on real life heroes. In order to encourage and help young people tell stories about their own heroes, we have developed media arts resources to help teachers and students. And My Hero has become a library, a form of understanding literacy and reading about values. And so we built the library first on stories, then we added art. Then when broadband came along, we added films and audio. Teachers and students have helped us build lesson plans and resources and contests. We'll be going through this through the presentation. We now are in our 21st year of the My Hero International Film Festival, bringing together professional and student filmmakers from all over the world. And we do, with support from grants and individuals and foundations, do outreach programs in schools and workshops to teach media literacy and production so more students can make films about their heroes. So now I'd like to play a short film that'll give you an overview of my hero, and I'll get some help from Lucy's assistant.
Edward R. Murrow warned us that there is a great and perhaps decisive battle to be fought against ignorance, intolerance, and indifference. My hero inhabits the corner of the digital world where goodness reigns in the battle against misinformation and malice through the positive power of media. The mission of the My Hero project is to use media, art, and technology to celebrate the best of humanity. For over a quarter century, the My Hero project has provided hundreds of millions of students and life learners a safe online venue to discover, create, and share essays, art, and short films that celebrate diverse heroes from all walks of life. We honour men, women, and children who have overcome obstacles, who work for social justice, peace, human rights, and to protect the environment. We train youth to use media to raise awareness of local and global heroes working to solve the great challenges of our time. In the process, we provide students of all ages hope and an understanding that they too can be the change they wish to see in the world. With support from grants, our team has travelled around the world to provide media arts training and resources to teachers and students. We are dedicated to bridging the digital divide so that access to our content and storytelling tools is available to students everywhere. We see the power of giving voice to young people. Students My Hero has mentored over the years have gone on to become passionate leaders for social good. The annual My Hero International Film Festival brings together heroes, teachers, students, filmmakers, and artists from around the globe. The winning short films and art become part of the My Hero library, and the heroes, filmmakers, and artists we honour in turn become part of our global learning community.
Thank you. So you can stop the film now and we'll put the slide deck back on. We go on with the slides. I want to continue with the slide deck if I could get some help. Hello. Can we add the slide deck? There we go. Okay.
You got it?
Thank you. Okay, so our mission is to use media, art, and technology to celebrate the best of humanity. And we do believe that by providing positive role models, we can help students of all ages understand their own potential to create positive change in the world. So we're very much aligned with the mission of GLOW and building a global community. And we believe that inspiring young people and providing a safe place is the key to building this library. And we reward students for their stories, art, and films that they submit to My Hero through our different contests. So I wanted to spend a little time in our library with some of my favorite stories, since I've had the great privilege of coming to learn about some amazing heroes and meet them along the way. So it's an all ages storytelling platform. We have about 50,000 essays in our library. They're written by students, teachers, and professionals. They promote diverse heroes, scientists, artists, human rights advocates. We have a lot of stories about environmental heroes, community leaders, and more. The heroes come from all walks of life. They're young and old, and they work to improve life in their homes, in the local communities, and around the world. And every story that is submitted to our library is reviewed by staff to make sure it's appropriate for an audience of all ages. One of the heroes that I've learned about in the course of doing My Hero's work is Wangari Maathai. When she was alive, she wrote a chapter in the My Hero book about her heroes. Frances Moore Lappé, who wrote Diet for a Small Planet, nominated her as a hero. And over the years, people have submitted films to My Hero about Wangari Maathai. So if you go to the website and you look for the featured spotlight on Wangari Maathai, it's a whole unit that you can use, because there's films, there's first-person storytelling by Wangari Maathai, as well as art that celebrates this amazing hero who planted 30 million trees in Kenya and started the Green Belt movement. And when you think one person can't do something, her story really resonates quite well in terms of what one person can do. Another hero of mine that I've been able to connect with over the years with my hero is Ron Kovic. He's a peace activist. He wrote the book Born on the 4th of July, and Tom Cruise starred as him in a film directed by Oliver Stone. He was paralyzed in the Vietnam War, and he's been a champion for peace ever since. And he gives annually an award at our festival to a filmmaker who works and promotes the story of someone working for peace in their community or around the world. So not only do we have stories and art and films by and about Ron Kovic, but Ron Kovic gives back to my hero with this generous gift of a prize. And he views the ballot that's prepared for him by our staff of finalists, and he chooses the winner of the Ron Kovic Peace Prize. So it's very meaningful to the next generation to be given an award by this amazing hero. Elie Wiesel is a very well-known author. He passed away, but he wrote a beautiful chapter in the My Hero book. And his heroes were the ones who would dare to speak truth to power. And his chapter in the book is beautiful, and there's an excerpt of it in the My Hero website as well. The book was published in 2007 by Simon & Schuster, and it has essays by Muhammad Ali, Nelson Mandela, and some famous people that you know and some people that you don't. So it's a good book to read. And there's chapters of it on My Hero. Matty Stepanek was young when he was nominated as the hero on My Hero by a children's hospice worker. We went to a conference and he wrote about Matty, and he said he had written poems and understood more about life than most people, and he was only 5 at the time. And he was suffering from a terminal illness that his siblings had died from, and his mother has the adult onset of it. So we asked Matty's mom, what could we do? And she said we could use a computer because he has hundreds of poems that he's written, and we'd like to print them and publish them. So my hero reached out to Make-A-Wish Foundation and helped Matty get a computer, and he began publishing his book of poems. He later went on to become a New York Times best-selling author, friends with Jimmy Carter and Oprah, and he really touched the hearts of millions of people. And when he passed, we published a book of guest book entries that people from around the world had written into my hero and sent it to Jenny. And now Jenny, his mother, gives the poetry prize at the My Hero International Film Festival and also in a poetry contest that we have. And she is truly a remarkable hero. She went on to get her PhD and is known as Mama Peace. So Esther Wojcicki, you may have heard of. She's really a super woman. I don't know. Some people consider her the godmother of Silicon Valley. We discovered her when she published a book called Moonshots in Education and discovered that she had built a $20 million media center for the students at Palo Alto High School. And when we went to visit her, we were amazed at how she was publishing numerous magazine articles. Her students were publishing radio programs and television programs in a state-of-the-art facility that we wish every school would have. And Esther has become not only a friend, but an advisor to my hero. And you'll see later, she also gives an award at our festival to student reporters. So it's real people that are connected through this project. And over time, they've not only continued to do great things, she's written several books and continues to speak all over the world trying to transform education, but she also has become a mentor and advisor to my hero, and I'm incredibly grateful. Slater Jewel Kemker was a little girl when she first held a camera working with my hero and asked if she could meet her hero, Jean-Michel Cousteau. She was able to do that, and we made a short film with Slater about meeting your hero. And she later became a feature film director. And at the end of her film, she meets again with Jean-Michel Cousteau at the Climate Action Conference in Washington, D.C. And her feature film, Youth Unstoppable, has traveled around the world and inspires young people. It's about the leaders on the front line of climate change activism. And then there's wonderful Ava Holler, who I met and was trying to understand what it is that made her so incredible and why was she getting an award. And it was because she's a behind the scenes person for a lot of wonderful nonprofit organizations. And so we've made a documentary about her, and she is, that documentary is played around the world and has done well in festivals. And she also hosts a Saturday salon. Every Saturday at 2:00, she brings together artists and writers and Nobel laureates to talk about current events and things that are going on in the world. And her salons are archived by My Hero. So we are an all ages platform, and our students aren't just children, but they're grown-ups. And I'm one of the life learners who's really benefited from being part of this journey. Can we play the next film, please, about the My Hero Gallery?
Art is a universal language. It can inspire and illuminate a transformative experience. It can represent a unique point of view, easily understood by people from all walks of life. Professional and student artists showcase their inspiring original art on the theme of heroism in the My Hero Gallery. Explore a diverse collection of media highlighting those working for social justice, human rights, community and environmental activists, local and global heroes. Art on My Hero illuminates positive role models from all races and cultural backgrounds that visualize heroism. We welcome all submissions in all media, from traditional, such as painting, drawing, collage and sculpture, to computer-generated digital art. Prizes are awarded for outstanding work. Share your hero art with our global learning community.
So we can go back to the deck now, if that's okay. So can you put the deck back on the stage? I'm hoping I can get some help putting the deck back on the stage. Hello? There we go. Okay, thank you. So the voice of the narrator for that documentary is Kitty Richardson, and she was an intern. We have a program with interns, and she volunteered for a full year while she was at Leeds University and did the My Hero deep dive. And Kitty made the opening film that you saw and also that 1-minute film about our gallery. And the gallery, you know, art is a universal language. So for people who are overseas and using, you know, art and sharing stories, they can write a sentence or a paragraph to describe their work of art. But it's a really nice way to share your vision of heroism with My Hero. So these are examples. This is a high school student who's a Native American. This is a student from New York in the middle school. So the art has been really interesting. And when we have our award ceremonies, it's really nice for the artists to be seen and to talk about their artwork and to meet with people from around the world. So we try and do that at a time that works somewhat for everybody, but it is a challenge. But we really appreciate the submissions of art that come in from all around the world to the My Hero Gallery. Another portal that evolved, and all of these pieces of My Hero have evolved. And the art gallery was the idea of a professor of art, and she came, and her name is Victoria Murphy, and she said, "Why don't you have art on the My Hero website?" And I agreed with her, why don't we? So we did. So much of what My Hero has come because of educators who have contributed their knowledge and their resources and their inspiration with us. And our listen and read space is, we have an audio portal. And what we have found is that when we take stories that have been written, whether it's by a student or a professional, if it's a story that might appeal to a general audience, we can record someone reading the story and it becomes a very useful tool for ESL. So if you go to My Hero and you look for the audio portal in ESL, all of these stories and more, you can read and listen along with it. So it's really good for early readers. Now, our film library has over 3,000 short films, and it really began 21 years ago. Wendy Millette was a teacher of my children in school in Laguna Beach, and when she went to film school at USC and graduated with her master's degree, we recruited her to help launch the My Hero Film Festival and Media Arts Education Program. So Wendy Millette is retired, and we have a new director, Santos Herrera, who's doing amazing work with students in schools around the Los Angeles area right now. But his team is also working hard on this year's festival, and that's where the films that fill our library for the most part come from. So we have films that are a lot of films about environmental heroes, a lot of films about ocean-minded heroes. We have films on lots of subjects, and we curate the films and the art and the stories into our homepage. So to be relevant and to be timely, we connect new content as well as outstanding content that stands the test of time into homepage features on the My Hero website and also in our calendar. So on any given day, you can use My Hero to enrich learning, and each one of these banners links to what we call an organizer that's filled with stories and art and films that have been curated by our staff for this year's feature. So in addition to creating these calendar items, what we realized during COVID is that it isn't just like International Day of Peace that we have content for. We have content for peace studies. We have content for human rights. We have content for women's studies. So content from My Hero has been curated into lessons by teachers. Laura Neitzer, who's presented for us at Glow in the past, retired after 15 years of helping My Hero, but new teachers are coming and adding to our content, and these lesson plans that have been designed and are shared are freely available in the My Hero Teachers Room. So the other part of what My Hero is, in addition to being a library, is a place where people are asked to participate and share. And over the last few years, we've put infrastructure into making sure that My Hero was mobile friendly. We're very excited about the fact that students all over have access to cell phones that have cameras, and that stories can be told from anywhere as well as shared. So My Hero is mobile friendly, and the digital storytelling tools come with an account. It doesn't cost anything to register. If you're under 13, you shouldn't give your email address, but teachers can get a class code so you can aggregate your students' work into classroom published pages if you choose to. So that got a little out of sync, but it's the My Hero Journalism and Filmmaking Workbook with an introduction, which is quite beautiful, by Esther. And it was written by her former student, who is now a teacher of AP Journalism and Filmmaking in the Northern California area. And we were so lucky and grateful to the Scripps Family Impact Fund for finding My Hero and asking how they could support our media arts education program and film festival. And this book is a great way to begin the process of making a film. And we've made it interactive. It links to pages in My Hero that have films. And also we have a section on AI that we'll be updating. So it's an interactive workbook, and it's really designed for middle school and high school and college students, as well as grown-ups that want to make films or teachers that want to learn how to make films. But I encourage you to check it out. And if anyone emails us, we will give you access to a free download, jeannie@myheroproject.org. It's available on Amazon, and it's also in our Shopify store for a digital download. We also, with the grant from the Scripps Family Impact Fund, have created a documentary that is a companion to the film that highlights the work of student filmmakers and has interviews with the filmmakers about their process and what it meant to them to make their hero film. And that's online available, and it's going to air on a PBS local station in California shortly. But the segments are all available online for you to view. So we also have other contests to engage students and create excitement about participating in My Hero. So we have art contests with deadlines coming up. December 1st is the next deadline for the art contest. And the information is all available in the My Hero Gallery. And then in the spring, we have the Robert Shetterly Portrait Contest. And Robert Shetterly is a fine artist. His work has been shown in universities, and a feature documentary was made about him. After 9/11, he started painting portraits of people who inspired him. And he shared many of them with My Hero and their stories as well. So we have the Maddie Stepanek Poetry Contest that's coming up. That's in the summer, July. And then we have the My Hero International Film Festival, which has been really so exciting to see it grow over the years. Short films, big heroes. And we've been doing this since 2005. We've had the event in beautiful theaters at USC School of Cinematic Arts in the George Lucas Building, in the Moss Theater at New Road School, and at the Rivian South Coast Theater in Laguna Beach. But the films also play in classrooms and homes around the globe. And if you're interested in arranging a screening of films, you can reach out to us, because we'd love to honor filmmakers in different parts of the country and around the world who have participated in My Hero. So this is the picture of our last festival that was at New Road School, and there's Wendy Millette, and there's Gabrielle Gorman, who is an emerging artist and is going to be a filmmaker you'll be hearing about, and Esther's there, and Tiffany Schlane, and the principal of Ascot Elementary School is there with some of his students. So it's an all ages, very inspiring gathering, and it will be held virtually this year. But right now, we have online a People's Choice ballot. So you have until December 1st to watch a half hour of films, and it's off of the My Hero homepage, the information. It's curated for 30 minutes of viewing several short films. Then you can discuss the films and what makes a good hero story and what makes a good film. And then students can vote for their favorite film. And we'll announce the winners at the event. So this is an example. An assembly was held at Ascot Avenue Elementary School, where the students watched a half hour of films and then they voted for their favorite. It was totally engaging the students, and now they're making their own hero films. So thanks to generous sponsors, we are able to give some cash prizes in several categories at the My Hero International Film Festival. Esther gives the Youth Reporter Prize with a $2,000 cash award to the winner. Kathy and Amy Eldon, also heroes of mine, give the Dan Eldon Activist Award. His story is very moving, and it's on the website. The Relationships First Award is given by Judy Anderson, our board member, and the Foundation for the Contemporary Family, and it's about people who are building healthy relationships in traditional families and also in different forms of family. Ron Kovic, as I mentioned before, gives the Ron Kovic Peace Prize. Sing for Hope is a new award, relatively new award. I think it's the third year we're able to give it, and it's to encourage students to make music videos to celebrate an unsung hero. And that award is sponsored by Ava Holler through this amazing nonprofit organization that she has been a champion for called Sing for Hope. And you can learn more about them on My Hero as well. And Ava Holler gives the Women Transforming Media Award to support people that are celebrating women doing outstanding work in their community and around the world. And Jenny gives the Maddie Stepanek Poetic Film Prize. McGilvery Freeman Educational Foundation's One World, One Ocean sponsors the Sylvia Earle Ocean Award, and that has a deadline of May 1st because we announced the winner on World Oceans Day, June 8th. And this year's the award ceremony will be virtual, so there's no excuse for not being there. Email us for an invitation if you would like to attend, and it will be part of Ava Haller's Salon series at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on December 13th. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we are online at myhero.com. We hope you'll join the My Hero project. And can we play the 30th anniversary closer? So thank you. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you for letting My Hero be part of this. There's more slides, I think, that are part of your presentation, how people are supposed to follow, but I'd love to respond to any questions people have or comments.
Well, Wendy Jewell noted that that My Hero has launched the many young filmmakers into their notable careers, which is great. My takeaway is, and I'm just seeing like my background is showing. I have to have it perfect. We need, so there's been a backlash of around educational technology lately. I don't know if you've seen stuff in the New York Times recently about how Chromebooks are ruining the world. I'm exaggerating, but it's almost that bad. And I think that people are missing the point is that instruction needs to change, and the way students want to learn needs to. That's been a theme today. Needs to be taken into account, and doing project-based learning, showing what you know, synthesizing information, and being able to retell that kind of information is learning, and it's more meaningful and positive for kids. Are you seeing any resistance to the tech piece of this in schools that you work with, where they don't want kids on devices too much? Or are you seeing, is there a correlation between schools that are a little bit more progressive that are participating in this? I mean, what kinds of things are you seeing from your perspective, out of curiosity?
So in California, where I'm based,
Yeah.
There is a mandate for students to have media proficiency. So there is a hunger, I think, for students to, our workbook is useful. Not just being a consumer of media, but being a maker of media makes you a critical thinker, makes you understand how it can be manipulated, makes you understand how to think about telling a story. And I think that we're seeing when we get through the door, a real response from the administrators and the teachers that this is such a welcome activity for the students to take part in. Especially there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of hard things going on in the world right now, and to give kids some direction and understanding of resilience, that some people went through hard things and they didn't give up and they made it. The story of John Williams is Congressman John Williams is one of, I mean, he got beaten up, he got arrested, and he ended up being a congressman. And I just think that there's a reason to be wary of how much time our kids are spending on the screen consuming. And the beautiful part about My Hero is we have avoided any kind of commercials on the website. And that's been really important for us to make this a pure, like an oasis of goodness. It's a library. You're going in, we're not selling you anything. We're just wanting to share stories of hope and inspiration. So I think that's one positive in our, the other thing that is really of concern, I guess, and another reason for why My Hero is that AI grabs information from the internet.
Right.
So what AI has learned is what the internet has to give. And the internet, like many books really predominantly leaves out a lot of stories of women and underrepresented minorities.
Mm-hmm.
And so this effort that we have to promote that, to find those stories and to celebrate people who have been unsung, feeds the AI engine some alternative
Right,
information
right.
that's
Excellent
really
point.
needed, you know. So as we move forward at the speed of light, you know, it's important that we feed it first person. And that's the other thing in terms of a plus for my hero is AI. If you're worried about students copying essays, when you're asking them to write a first person essay, it's their voice we're listening to. It's their voice that we want to hear from. And so often the stories that come through that are the most meaningful are from students who have had the greatest challenges. And so that's just, you know, it's a blessing to be able to be on the front line and see that and celebrate those individuals that may have been overlooked.
And I think part of the AI conundrum is like, what kinds of alternatives do you give students to show what they know? And I think producing content is one of those things. I want to see what kids have synthesized and understood and think is important and put into multimedia. I want kids to, to use their creative juices to tell a story and in a coherent way, and with touches of creativity. And I just was looking on Facebook today as I was in between sessions, and a friend who teaches at UCLA is bemoaning the AI essays that she's getting for students. And I'm trying not to weigh in, but I want to say, why are you doing that? Like, why are you assigning them the traditional essay? You're asking for that. And one person said, well, blue books, write in class. Oh, that's fine. That's totally fine. Do in-class work where they're writing, and not relying on AI. And the other piece of this too is that schools have to kind of set the policy and the tone and the ethics around AI use. We use it for this way in this class or whatever. And I think the college that I went to, which Super Tim is, who has been helping, goes to, there have been professors there that have been really actively thinking about how they can use it in creative ways. And I think film is certainly one way to do it. But like, it's not about banning, and we don't need any more banning. We need more opportunities for students to do this sort of thing. I think you also hit upon something that I have seen too, is the depression and anxiety that's going on with young people. I don't think that's going to go away for a number of reasons, whether it's climate anxiety, climate change anxiety, or whatever. And I think, that these kinds of things are not measurable on standardized tests, and we need to get over that once and for all.
One example of a My Hero moment for me, we had a grant to do workshops at Ascot Avenue Elementary School, and one of the students who is severely handicapped made a film about his bus driver. And when we showed the film to all of the students, and this boy was in his wheelchair watching the film, all of the students in the school cheered for him. And it was so important and beautiful, and I was like teary-eyed. It was, to see the reaction of peers supporting other peers. And that's really, Esther talks about how, if you read a book, you remember very little of what you've read for a test. If you take a test, you won't remember what was in the test. But if you do a project with your peers that's student initiated, you will remember what you learned. The peer-to-peer learning and making a film is a group effort. And those opportunities of creating and then sharing with the class your work and then sharing with our larger community certainly has helped some students find their passion, and they've continued to add more films to our website, or their careers, as Wendy said, have gone on further.
Have you seen, speaking of the student that had some disabilities, have you seen a lot of students who are using technology in interesting ways through assistive means? Because I'm thinking of, to create their films or media in general, I'm thinking of an Apple Distinguished Educator, a person that's in the ADE program with me, who has cerebral palsy, and she's used switches on the head part of her chair to edit and create movies, which I just find amazing. And if you've ever seen any of the videos on Apple's accessibility site of what people can do, it's
and that's where AI is going to be amazingly helpful. I mean, it's not all good and it's not all bad, but the tools and the accessibility issue, for kids who don't have access to special effects studios or whatever, AI is going to be able to give them some magic if they have a story to tell, if they have something that's true and is their vision. And that's really what seems to come through time and again, is that the people that'll take the time and edit and re-edit their films to make sure it's digestible, who get feedback from their peers and then work on it some more. I mean, and that's in the Real Heroes documentary. We have a clip of this young man who is now doing films for Netflix about sports, but his friend was blind from Chicago, and he did a film about his blind friend who skateboarded. And they came to USC, and his friend says, Logan's a good filmmaker. He made a film and it came in second place last year, and then he worked harder on it, and this year we came in first place. So, I mean, that's peer-to-peer, approval is also a part of this idea of festival and contests. And we don't like people to feel like they're losers, but it is really rewarding when you see people, work hard on their films and get recognized and recognize their heroes in the process.
Have you run into how many countries have participated? I mean, are there certain parts of the world that are more participatory than others? Are there still challenges in other places?
There are challenges in terms of accessibility, but we've had teachers in Morocco when Wendy Jewel was running the learning circle. The kids wrote about their donkey as the hero because he was delivering the mail to them, and I think that, and the teacher would go to an internet cafe to upload their stories. Unfortunately, internet access is not accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
But we do have teachers in Sierra Leone that are active participants in My Hero, and they sometimes can download the films they want to share and then bring them to their students. We used to go to the IERN and ISTE conference with USB drives loaded with films because we knew that was a challenge. And I am starting to think that maybe a delivery system like that would be helpful, but also there's new groups that'll be sending Chromebooks and other technology overseas, and it would be nice to preload it with some My Hero content.
Yeah.
So it's on my wish list.
Yeah. Well, so if anybody's listening out there and wants to do that, there is I've mentioned 100.org to a lot of people over the years in this forum, and a lot of the organizations that are present here have applied and gotten recognition from 100. And there was one guy that I met at the 100 conference who he's taking and putting content on, making it more accessible to people in bandwidth challenges part of the world. I'll have to think of what the name of the organization was, but I remember his name. So let me see if I can find it in LinkedIn. I wonder if he has some ideas around that. He was really impressive, and he's located in, maybe I don't know. Oh, here he is. He's located in Switzerland, and the name of the organization is, now that I think about it, is Wix Online. And it takes content and puts it offline for people without internet access. I bet this would be like a really good
That
connection.
sounds good. We use Cloudflare to distribute content into different parts of the world. And we do have a lot of traffic coming from the Middle East, also coming from China and from India. It's something like 175 countries are accessing My Hero content, and we have several million views every month. So it totals about 20 million visitors a year just through our stats on our server, and Cloudflare has its own data. So the website's being used a lot in terms of people submitting their films and their art. You know, we'd like to see more participation, but we're getting a steady stream of submissions that are really good for the festivals.
Have you ever had any kind of research study done on the data that you've accrued through, or surveys that you've done with people who are participating in your programs? Is there any kind of,
there was a chapter written about my hero that's published in a book about, I think, the science of heroism, and I can send you the information about where that was published, but it's more grassroots, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I just thought maybe some university might like take it under their wing, and I think it would be really interesting. I worked with Creative Connections, which is another arts-based nonprofit, this year to help them reimagine their curriculum, and it's interesting. I think there are a couple of things here. One is having the evidence that, because schools seem to want that these days, having some evidence of what the impact is on social emotional learning or whatever is helpful, and having some sort of analysis done on the data that's collected is helpful for funding. The other piece with them, and they presented earlier today, is that I think organizations that are grassroots have to like band together and collaborate or communicate so that they can learn from each other about how to navigate, because I don't know how you guys do with funding, but we're not in Europe. There's global citizenship education funding from the EU and that sort of thing. There's not any one source really here in the United States that's really kind of championing that kind of thing. So, how do nonprofits, particularly arts-based ones, tell their story and document their successes in a way that's impactful and helpful to them? It's something that we've been talking a lot about this year. So.
Right. Well, it's nice when, like the laboratory that we have at Ascot Elementary School, because we've been there for a few years now, and we have a relationship with teachers, classrooms, and students. We can see the impact there. And then we've seen the impact in the filmmakers and the teachers that we've worked with and statements that they've given to us. But I think that the idea of my hero flourishing in the future is a part of what we need in terms of what do we want people to be able to access on the internet, and is there, with all the values and all the funds that have been created because of the internet, it seems to me that a very logical extension that it would support the kind of commercial-free information database that my hero is and can continue to be. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that people that have benefited from this technology and the internet will see the value of protecting and preserving this library and helping it grow for the future. And we're open to partnerships with museums and libraries and art centers. So
good to know.
That's something we're looking into right now.
Okay. Well, your organization's amazing, what you've built.
You are amazing, Lucy. This conference is amazing, and how you pull it off so seamlessly.
It's a lot of people helping, and I think there's so many amazing things that happen from the people that are involved, like you, that I want more people to know about it. And everything. I guess we're not sexy enough in our work to go viral and be on TikTok and whatever. And I'm kind of at a loss at how we grow this. I feel like it's the kind of community is kind of shrinking as opposed to expanding, and that's not the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, so well, my hero was a response to reality television. And we felt it was very important to provide positive role models on mass media. So it's no different than when we started, unfortunately, the need. And I feel very strongly that somehow or another we're going to be able to launch into the future and see this work continue. So
it's amazing. Well, we'll be here to cheer you on and let
Thank
us know
you.
how we can help. And I hope everybody looks into your resources, and we'll share these things out too with the community at the end of the conference too, so that people can take advantage of what you have to offer. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you to
Thank
the
you, Lucy.
Wendy's and Wendy 1 and Wendy 2. And everybody else on your team that I've met. I had the best time. Who did I meet?
St. George
Yes,
Thompson.
he was great. It is
And
Steve.
he's
Yeah.
the host of the Real Hero student film. So if you watch it, you'll
Okay.
recognize him.
Okay. Well, tell
And
him
he's the illustrator of those you can see behind me. He's
oh
done
yeah,
this
yeah.
work.
Yes, he was telling me he does that on his iPad.
Yeah, he's quite
Wow.
talented. So
Cool. Well, thank you for your
nice
time.
to see you. Thank you,
And
Lucy.
everyone, we're going to end this stream right now, but there's more sessions coming next hour. So hold on to your hats and join us in the other rooms. Consult the schedule, and we'll see you online in the next set of sessions. Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeannie,
you.
and everyone for coming.
Thank you. Bye.
That was